How are you guys doing? Hope everybody's doing well. Time is never fluent. Time is never fluent. What? Time is never fluent. So a lot he wants to talk. Um and animals talk. Okay, animals have souls, they have spirits, they talk. Um I went into this video. This video will be probably my perspective as a seer on death and the shift of consciousness, or being consciously aware that we all have this ability. What? What? Hold on, let me get him a snack, okay, you guys, because that's what he's wanting, a snack. And if not, he will keep bothering me, and I don't want to be bothered. Come on, Storm. Okay, excuse my room. It's a mess. Well, it's not a mess, okay, because you don't want to live in clutter. Um, but I have a lot of stuff, um, and I got a lot of stuff. Okay, a lot of stuff I bought. I want to put up, but I want to revamp my whole workspace, um, and that will happen as soon as my daughter moves out. I can put that other room, redo it how I want to do it, because it's just not enough space. Okay, with things that I use for conventions. When I go to conventions, my shelves, um, all my stuff that I have. Okay. And I'm making oils, you guys. I'm only going to make 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 oils for right now to see how they sell. If they sell, I will make more. Okay. The oils. My dad used to make oils. I have 1 bottle of my dad's oils left. And when I tell you, it's very powerful. Very powerful. I only use it on one person that I did a spiritual bath on. I have people travel to me, or I travel to them. I have clients, all different kind of clients, around the world, all different kind of backgrounds. I don't discuss my clients because it's confidentiality. Okay. So what I see as a seer of consciousness, consciousness is very interesting. I believe that they know this, and they don't talk about this. And there's many reasons they don't talk about it, because everybody will see everything for what it really is. Okay, when you are seeing with the true consciousness, I say awareness consciously of what is in front of you, and seeing past the physical and seeing the spiritual. Okay, remember, it's so important to be consciously aware, because you will see things differently. Okay, so this is kind of like a class, a free class. All my other classes will be paid classes. Okay, private classes. So I'm gonna tell you 2 stories. Okay, and I wrote some things down. I don't know why I'm being led to tell the story um, of my experience at the conventions. Okay, this morning, I don't know why, but my spiritual team, my ancestors, kept telling me to talk about my experience at the convention. Okay, I have many experiences in life. Okay, But this one experience, I want to talk about this one experience, and then we'll go into what happens when you physically die, or when you are spiritually awake and aware, consciously aware and awake. You can shift your reality. You can shift your consciousness. Okay, you truly can. And this also happens when you die. Okay, so you know how they tell us, well, I'll get to that. Okay. I thought this was so cute. Witches, bro. Witches were not okay. A lot of these religions, a lot of these spiritualists. I don't like this new age spiritual concept in a lot of things. Okay, I like things the old way. Okay, the old way is better. The reason why I say is it's getting too commercialized out here. Okay, just like the damn churches. Okay, and people are not really being taught the right way. Okay, the real way. Okay. And it's a business, not really what you're supposed to be doing as a spiritualist, as a healer. Okay, it's a business, and I don't do business well. Okay. So my insight. Okay, so as a seer, I have seen a lot. Okay, and as you guys as seers may have seen a lot. Okay. Excuse my hair. I need to get my hair done. My hair did. Okay, so I want to talk about this one experience I had. And this lady comes to all my convention. Well, she not comes to all my conventions. She always comes to this one convention, right? And she's a white lady, okay? And there was something different about her, okay? So I have all different clientele. People come back to see me at my convention because the old way of using shell divination, or even using seashells, a lot of Africans, they use crow shells. I use seashells. Okay, I don't have to use seashells. I use it as a tool. I don't have to use them. Okay, but I choose to use them. Okay. Shells have a frequency, and you have to be careful even using tarot cards because it will lead you in circles. Okay. I noticed that, but it will lead you to the Torah and the Kabbalah. That's one. But anyways, okay, so this session is being recorded today. My name is Jennifer Felix. I am a seer. They call us psychics, but the true name to us are seers. Okay. Everybody has the gift of sight. It goes through both bloodlines. It goes through we carry memory from our mother's DNA and our father's DNA and their RNA. Okay, we carry that memory. Okay, so this is why I always tell my clients you have to heal because you're carrying generations and generations of DNA and RNA. Okay. And what happens is it's being passed down from the mother to the child. And it just repeats itself. Okay. It's a cycle that just keeps repeating itself and repeating itself and repeating itself. And some people don't even know that this is a cycle. And some people are not even aware that you carry the DNA and RNA of your parents. Okay. This is your mother and father's side. Okay. I don't know why people always say, oh, it's your father's side, is the dominant side. No, it's both sides. Okay. So whoever is out here saying that you just carry the memory of the father, they're lying to you. Okay. You carry the memory of your father and you carry the memory of your mother's DNA and RNA. Okay. Now, I don't want to go too much into my daughter. But one day, she don't like to be on camera. She doesn't have no social media. And she's not of this world, she's in this world. Okay? My youngest daughter. She's not in this world, she's of this world. Just like many of us, we are in this world, but we're not of this world. Okay? So we carry the DNA of our ancestors. Okay? This is why I believe ancestral DNA, ancestral healing and ancestral this is why people do ancestral worship. Now, I honor my ancestors, but I'm not doing all that stuff that everybody else is doing out here, okay? It's just new age bullshit, okay? And I see past bullshit, okay? Because first and foremost, I'm a seer. So I'm going to see what I need to see, okay? And I'm not a follower. I don't like to follow the crowd. I like to walk through the motherfucking crowd. And like a lot of you guys do. So they will call you crazy. They will call you the black sheep. I've always been the black sheep of my family. Okay, I've always and I think it's because my dad was the only one on my mother's side that was Spanish and indigenous. I mean, my family loved me, but I was just different, okay? And I understood I was different. I embraced my differentness. I am so glad I'm different. I'm not a follower, and I don't want to be a follower. I'm a loner, and it's a very lonely life. As far as being in relationships, having friends, I don't trust. It's not that I don't trust, is that I can read people, okay? That's what I do as a seer. So I always see the spirit of the person before I see the physical body. Any interaction I have, I see the physical before I see. Oh my God, I'm the black sheep of my family. Yes, a lot of people that are black sheep of your family, I believe the families that we're being born into are not our true families. Okay, there's many debate on that. I believe they know who we are coming in. We are prophesized about as far as being a seer, and they don't want us here because we see past the bullshit, past the illusion and the fucking delusions. And that's the truth. Okay, that is the truth. Okay, we see past the fucking delusion and illusions. Okay, now sometimes the truth is very scary for many, and I'm gonna tell you why. And a lot of seers, they go through a life of hell. Okay, literally hell. Okay, they go through a lot of homelessness. They go through a lot of mental disorders. The mental disorders are not truly mental disorders. They're truly is you're tapping into a higher consciousness, a higher frequency. And you don't even understand that you're tapping into this higher consciousness and higher frequency. Okay, you're consciously aware that you're shifting your consciousness. Okay, well, some people are not aware that they're shifting their consciousness. But what happens is you're shifting your consciousness. Okay, you can shift your consciousness. Okay. Since childhood, I've always wondered why everyone and everything seemed fake. Yes, I've been through hell a lot of my life. Yes, you will go through. So the way they describe hell is not hell. Okay, hell is coming back to the same dimension over and over and over and over. That is hell. And they will not teach us in religion is for the simple fact to have you in a state of fear. Because what are you given? You're given a name, you're given a date of birth, you're given an identity, and then you're programmed at an early age, right? And you also, a lot of people come in with a disability. They call it a disability, but it's not a disability. It's actually a gift, okay? And a lot of people that have gifts and they come in with gifts, they call it disabilities, and it's not disabilities. It's just that you're not connecting to your physical body because you are mostly of your spiritual body, okay? So you're refusing to connect with your physical body. You're saying, fuck that shit. So yes, I've been through a lot as a child. I've been through a lot as an adult. And I can feel everything around me. I'm talking about everything. As soon as I walk outside, I can feel the trees, I can feel the grass, I can feel the winds. I can read people's thoughts. Um, I can just feel their physical emotions, like if they're physically sick. Okay. I had a friend, and I don't want to go off course here. I had a friend that when I left him, I gave him a hug, and I could feel extremely ADHD. What is that diagnosed with? Okay, so if you're ADHD, schizophrenic, autistic, all those shit that they diagnose with mental disorders, they're not mental disorders. Okay, it's just that you are highly tapping into different frequency of consciousness. Okay, that's what it is. And that when you have these issues is because, especially the ADHD, where you're not concentrating, is because you haven't learned how to really understand the consciousness and understand how you can shift it. Okay, so you're all over the goddamn place. This is why grounding, meditation, and that kind of stuff should be taught in school, but they don't teach it because they want you to be a slave to their system. They want to pop you with medication so you're not aware of what is really going on. Okay, this is why you have schizophrenic people that are just shifting consciousness and they're not even aware they're shifting consciousness. Okay, but they're shifting consciousness. Okay, so what they do is they dumb them down, they medicate them, and a lot of them become crazy. I mean, mentally crazy, because they know that they are hearing and seeing things from other dimensions, and they're not grounded consciously, so it makes them insane. It makes them crazy. Okay. Yes, you have to ground your energy. You have to cleanse your energy. I've been fasting. It's hard for me to fast. I used to fast a lot. I am actually losing weight and fasting. And my body, what happens spiritually is your body starts to reject food, people, places, and things. Okay. Because you're tapping into higher consciousness. Okay. And the way that we perceive chakras and grounding, grounding is basically going outside, putting your foot in the grass or sitting in the grass, being out in nature, and just being in a space of solitude. Okay. I'm always in a space of solitude. And some people will call that depression, which I'm not depressed. I am just comfortable where I'm at. So, okay. So first I want to talk about this lady because my spiritual team, I don't know why they want me to bring up this lady. What are you saying is resonating so much is scary? Yeah, it's very scary. But we can't live in fear. Okay, because then we're going against our own consciousness. And we have to not go against our own consciousness. Okay, because what happens is it's like you're in a body of water, right? And you have that wave, and that wave is taking you. You just let that wave take you. Okay, you don't fight against that goddamn wave. Okay, you just flow with that goddamn wave, right? But you're consciously aware that you're shifting state of consciousness. Okay, and if you have a child that is a seer or a medium, you need to teach them these techniques. Okay, and if you have a child that has a disability, what's happening is they're not connecting with their physical body. Okay, their spiritual body is not connecting with their physical body because they're saying they don't want to go into this physical body. That's basically what it is. Because the physical body is temporary. Okay, and that's what I see as a seer. Okay, so yes, you will go through a lot of shit in life, and you won't even understand why you're going through this shit. Okay, but you'll go through a lot. You'll have a lot of struggles. It's set up for you to fail. It's set up for you to be in poverty. It's set up for you to work that 9 to 5. It's set up that way. Okay, because they know who you are. Okay, all right. So I don't know why I'm being led to tell this story, but let me tell this story, and then we're going to talk more on shifting consciousness or shifting dimensions, because this is what you're basically doing. You're shifting dimensions and you're shifting consciousness. Okay. And they want us to believe that there's a heaven and hell. The hell is this dimension. The hell is being coming back over and 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 over in this dimension. Okay, that is the hell of it. Okay, and knowing that you're coming back into the same dimension. Okay, now some people are coming back in because I mean, who chooses to come back in here? To help humanity, and some people are just come back in here because they don't even realize they're coming back into this motherfucker. Okay. And the medication that they're giving you is to stop you from consciously shifting your consciousness. So the medication is dumbing you down. Okay, it's not helping you at all. Okay, so so we're going to get into this more, and I want to get into also, I don't know why my spiritual team is like, talk about this, talk about this, talk about this. So I want to talk about this lady, and then we'll get into the shifting of, yes. Huh? No, you cannot put foil in the microwave. It'll blow the microwave up. Just put on a piece of put it on a plate. If you want to get in a shower, Joe, I can take you somewhere. That's my grandson. Okay, I have readings today, so let me make this quick. If you guys are scheduling readings with me, you have to pay upfront. And I only do readings. Now, I do travel, but when I try, people don't come to my house, I don't do that kind of stuff anymore. Because I have to do all kinds of things. It's cleansing my house, and I'm not doing all that, okay? I'd rather meet my clients outside my home. I have people travel to me. I travel to them. There needs to have more schools where the kids with disabilities to explore this nature. Yes. In the schools, they don't explore this is because they don't want the child or the parents to know truly what's going on. Okay. That's why they're not exploring this. But they have to explore this. So you as a parent, a grandparent, and you have a child with disabilities, they say disabilities, but it's not. It's actually a child with a gift. Okay, and their perspective and how they perceive things is different. Okay, so I have a grandson, and he has the gift that I have, so I teach him differently. Okay, you okay, Josiah? Josiah, you want to go get something to eat in a few? Okay, you want to take a shower and get dressed? Yes, take a shower and get dressed. Okay, so I have a reading. So let me finish this, you guys. Okay, so I'm gonna tell you this story. So there's a convention I go to, and there's a white woman, and I set up for my convention. And I set up for my convention, and certain people can't come into my space. Okay, the space in the booth, we have to pay for the booth in the space. Okay, now this particular place, I love the person that runs it. She's amazing. She has her own religion, but she's been running it for 40-something years. Her son's going to take over. And the prices of the booths are going up and up and up and up and up. And I feel like, yes, they have to make revenue, but also there's different people there with different expertise, okay, in the spiritual community. But, okay, so I'm going to tell you about this lady. So this lady I see all the time, okay, and at this particular place, okay. The first encounter I had with her, she was a white lady, kind of chubby, and her eyes, remember I said I see the spirit first. So what I was seeing in front of me was not that white woman, heavy fat white woman. It was actually a um, she wasn't a reptilian race. She was another race. Okay, I don't think she was reptilian. She was something else. I don't know much about the Galactic Federation and all that stuff, but I encountered many reptilians in my life, and I have encountered, I don't know what she was. I don't know if she was reptilian. I did reads on her. I talked about her in many of my videos. So she comes to my table, and I remember, like, if I'm protected, right? In the spiritual. So the reason why I say I'm protected because my ancestors walk with me. We all walk with our ancestors. We don't walk alone in this life. Okay. So she would have got pushed out. Okay. Or she wouldn't have been able to enter. Okay. My space. Okay. That's the way it works. So you can't burn. The first time I went, I was burning. And I had the whole place smelling like frankincense and myrrh and all kinds of shit. Okay. coal and all kinds of stuff. Okay. Um, and they came to me. They're like, "You can't burn." Okay, this is my first time going to it. But anyway, so she came to my table, and I knew she was who she was. She wasn't who she truly was. Okay. Um, and she asked me if I could do a reading. Um, and she was asking me the prices. My prices were a little bit higher than the other readers, and the reason why is because I'm coming with true, authentic, real gift. Okay, before you even enter these conventions, you have to prove that you're psychic. Okay, you have to prove it. Okay, so the owner of the convention will ask you to tell you something about her. Okay, so I remember when she asked me, I was in a car, I was in a rental car that day, and she was like, "Oh, you can just come back." I said, "No, I'm picking up your husband and how your husband truly died." Okay, because they didn't know what he really had, and I told her what he had, and that he's around her and specific things. And she was like, somebody was in the background. She had me on speaker, and they were like, "Oh, yes, she's a real deal. She has to come." So that's how they test you. They test you. You say in because we have a lot of fakes and we have a lot of frauds. Okay, and I hate how we have a lot of gifted African women. They are truly gifted in the spiritual realm. Okay, they're the strongest in the spiritual realm. Like the indigenous women. Okay, very strong. Okay, they're the strongest I've ever came across. Okay, in the spiritual. Okay, and I hate when people make it seem like it's evil because it's not evil. That we're communicating with our ancestors. We carry our ancestors' DNA. Our ancestors walk with us, but they call it black magic. Okay, and that is to demoralize the African woman. Okay, and her true gift. Okay, and they don't. I noticed that African women, Hispanic women, and indigenous women don't get the same they don't get the same recognition as these white women. Okay, and a lot of these white women are not even human. Okay, they're not human. They are not human. Okay, they're not just not human. They don't have the true gifts of the ancestors. Okay, so they don't have the true gifts of the ancestors. Now they may be born a psychic and they might be born a medium, but they don't have the true gifts of the ancestors. Okay, and that is a fact. Okay, I'm not trying to put no seers or psychics down that are white, but there's very few of them that can connect to our ancestors. Okay, because they're not supposed to connect with our ancestors because our ancestors are not their ancestors. Okay, their ancestors are Caucasoids. Okay, so they're coming from a different breed of people. Okay, but as black women and indigenous women, we don't get the same respect, but we're more connected to the spiritual realm than they are. Okay, and I notice that a lot. Okay, and it really bothers me. Okay, it really, really bothers me because some people out here are fake and frauds, and that bothers me. And it bothers me how people take advantage of others. Okay, and the same karma that and the same things they put out is the same things that they'll get back. Okay, so, and I have nothing against white seers, white psychics. I don't. But when it comes to spirituality, the black woman is the most powerful in spirituality. Okay, and that's a fact. Okay, because I've been working in spiritual community since I was little. Okay, since I was a little girl, and I come from a bloodline of seers. Okay, so I know this to be a fact. Okay, so this lady comes to my table, and when she comes to my table, okay, she can't enter into my booth area. Okay, she can't enter it. Okay, see, they fear the black woman, they fear the Hispanic woman, they fear the indigenous woman because of our true gifts that we wield and that we understand and that we know. Okay, that's why they say it's bad, it's dark, but we truly have healing. We have healing. Everything they learn from us. Okay, they learn from us. Then they take it and they get the credit for it, which I think that is so fucked up. Okay, and I'm just gonna call it what it is. Okay, it's very fucked up. Okay, happy Labor Day to you. I don't say Labor Day. Why? Because why would I celebrate a day where the government is like saying bravo for working, working for their system? The system keeps you enslaved. Okay, but hey Tracy, how are you doing? Okay, so shit. Okay, so the lady, okay, she wasn't who she presented herself. Okay, I picked it up right away. Now a lot of you guys may ask me, how's this possible? You have to shift your consciousness. Okay, you can shift your consciousness at any time. Okay, there's different techniques and different ways that you can shift your consciousness. Okay, I'm always seeing the spiritual before I'm seeing the physical. Okay, so I know if I'm around somebody that is human or non-human or hybrid. Okay, and this is why a lot of books were banned, because of the truth. Okay, so you know, in religion, how we think there's a heaven and hell, there's truly not a heaven and hell. There's different states of consciousness that we're shifting consciousness. Okay, the hell will be this dimension where we come back in multiple times. Okay, that will be the hell, coming back in multiple times on the same dimension. Okay, that is the hell of it, but you can shift your consciousness. Okay, so this lady, I'm gonna tell you the story. So this lady, the first time she came to my table, she seen my prices, and I think she thought they were a little bit high. Okay, but the services that I render, I feel like the prices were not high. Okay, there's people out here charging twice as much as me, and don't even, they're using cards. Okay, I don't have to use cards. Okay, so that is my worth. Okay, and that is what I'm going to charge. And if you can't pay it, then you have to go to somebody else. Okay, not saying that I won't help somebody if I see them in need, because a true healer doesn't look for the financial gain of it, because the money will flow naturally. Okay, but there was something about her. Okay, she was not allowed in my space. Okay, and then I don't know if she was. Now I'm gonna tell you what happened. So how she shifted in front of me. Okay, literally shifted in front of me. And when you're in this kind of work and you're a true practitioner, you will get burnt out. Okay, so you have to make sure that you're resting. And you also have to make sure that you're not just resting, but you're utilizing your time. Okay, and you cannot help everybody. Okay, but if there's ones that need help, help them. Okay, help them. Okay, don't be afraid to help them. Some of them are not actually who they're presenting themselves to be, and you got to be consciously aware of this. Okay, so she presented herself as a fat white woman, short. She had grayish blackish hair. Okay, I can smell the stench on her. Okay, always remember the smell of the physical body. Okay, will tell you a lot about their spiritual body. Okay, I'm not saying like if you have like a odor in your like if you have like a chemical off balance as far as your pH and stuff like that. No, this is different smell. Okay, different. Okay, so you need to take some natural stuff out here. Okay, but this is different kind of smells. Okay, so when she came close to me, she didn't enter my booth. And she asked me if I could do a read. She looked at my prices. She thought they were too high. Okay, I don't think she said it. I don't remember her saying it. Maybe she did say it. I don't know. So she went across from me. Okay, directly across from me. And these people that were across from me they say they were psychic, and they say they were Reiki healers. Okay, Reiki, you're putting your actual hands on somebody and healing them with your hands. Okay, so it was a couple, a man and a woman. And they were so scared to get a read from me, because when you are of African and you're practicing like Santeria, Mambo, all those kinds of stuff, it scares them because it's unknown. Okay, but there were the true healers. Okay. I always had a very sweet body odor and I smell less than other people. Okay, so they fear what they do not know. Okay, they fear what they don't know. That's what basically what it is. Okay, so okay, so because it's always taught that if you're black or you're black that it's dark. Okay, it's not true. Okay, that's why you see a lot of them fly to Africa. All presidents have been to Africa. All popes, they go to the blacks. They don't go to the white women. They go to the black women. Okay, and that's the honest to God truth. They go to the black women. Okay, for their spiritual gifts. Okay, they don't go to these white women. They go to the black women. I'm telling you. Okay, I've seen it. Okay, so she goes across from me, you guys. Okay, and they're doing Reiki on her. Okay, they're putting their hands and all this other stuff. Okay, and when I tell you, okay, she shapeshift in front of me, and then I ask myself, are they doing this to change my perception of what I'm seeing to make me go insane? No. Okay, that wasn't what it was. But sometimes they will do this. Okay, they have technologies that will do this. Okay, this is intelligent agencies. Okay. Yes, somebody says, I totally believe you. I've seen it as well. Yes. And I'm really starting to believe like the lady next door to me, the really nice white fat lady, she's also one of these motherfuckers. Okay. And I know I sound crazy. And then this weird guy over here. Okay. Everywhere I go, these motherfuckers seem to move around me. So I know I need to move somewhere where I am like isolated, where I don't have no neighbors. Okay. Because I'm tired of encountering these motherfuckers. Okay. So she shape-shift in front of me. Okay. She shape-shift in front of me. Okay. And then she had the nerve to come back the next year. And this time she didn't even come to my table. She went to across from me. Okay. She went across from me and she shapeshift again. Okay. And she knew she couldn't come over to me. Okay. When she left those Reiki people that was putting their hands on a non-human being. Okay. And how am I going to say to these two white people, do you know that the person that you just put your hands on is not even fucking human? Okay, they thought it was batshit crazy. Okay, so that tells me right there they're not true seers, because if they were true seers, they would know that what they're putting their hands on was not human. Okay, I'm telling you, that thing was not human. Okay, and I smelled her stench as soon as she came to my goddamn table. Okay, and she was not human. Okay, now was she reptilian? I don't know what the hell she was. Okay, but I seen her face shift. It kind of looked reptilian and kind of didn't look reptilian, okay? But it was her face that shift. Sometimes it's the whole fucking body, okay? But it was her face that shift, okay, in front of me. I've seen this before. I was in Florida. There's a woman driving, a Caucasian woman, okay? An older Caucasian woman, okay? And her face just shifted in front of me, okay? like literally fucking shift. And I wanted to say, everybody in the car, did you just see this lady's fucking face just shift in front of me? Okay. But if you have the eyes to see, you understand what's happening. They're shifting. I don't know. I think it's because of certain people's conscious perception that they can see these entities. Okay. That's what I truly believe. Okay, because you're conscious aware, so you can see these people shifting in front of you. Okay, and some people will say, oh, these people are possessed. Okay, first of all, possession is real, but you got to understand that these people are not human. Okay, we're not dealing with human. The fight that we're fighting is not with humans. Okay, it's other species. Okay, it kind of reminds me of the Men in Black, but twice that. Okay, and if everybody could see everybody on a spiritual level, people will be going fucking mad. Okay, mad and crazy. This is why I believe they won't tell the truth. Okay, because if they tell the truth and people can understand how to shift consciousness, some people will go mad. And this is what's happening with schizophrenic people. They're going mad because they're hearing the voices, they're seeing outside of their scope of perception. Okay, and it's freaking them out. Okay, because they're not grounded, they're not rooted. Okay, and they wind up in mental hospitals, they wind up on the streets, they wind up crazy. Okay, and you see them actually talking to somebody that's not there, but you can't see the person, but they can see the person. Okay, so you have entities that will play with them. Okay, and that is what is going on. Okay, but I wasn't playing with these entities. Okay, I'm like, fuck around and find out. Okay, because I'm ready to slay your ass. I'm ready to slay ya. I'm the slayer, the psychic slayer. Or maybe they were also a part of them. So the government knows about this. This is why I believe like they don't tell the truth. Because the perception of hell is like you go to this place where you're stuck, but you are stuck in that dimension. Okay. And you come back into that same dimension. Okay, that's hell. Okay, so you can shift your consciousness. Okay, you can do it. Okay, so let's talk about. So that lady could never come into my space. So there's people that were walking by, and they are drawn to you. Okay, I have regulars that come all the time to see me. Okay, I have the lady that runs the convention. She sends her friends. She was sending her friends to me. I'm not trying to stroke my goddamn ego. Okay, but she was sending her friends to me. One lady came in the goddamn wheelchair. Okay, a retired nurse. Okay, and she sent her to me. Okay, so and I was in the newspaper, but they didn't put my face, but they put my name. And I'm like, why wouldn't they put my face or my stuff that I have? Okay, because those people are not ready for the realness. Okay, that's what it is. They're not ready for the realness, but I'm coming with the realness because that's who I am. Okay, so and another thing is, if you are born into the Lakumi religion or Santeria religion, and you come from an ancestral, you do not have to take initiation. Okay, let me say this one last time. You are already, it's your God-given right. Okay, because you come from an ancestors of healers and seers, so you don't have to go through no initiation. Okay, that shit is fucking bullshit. And I had a discussion with my friend about this. Okay, they have different houses. Okay, and they'll have different people that will go and they'll do this. They'll go to Africa, they'll go to Cuba, they'll go to Venezuela, they'll go to different places to be initiated. Okay, and they spend all this fucking goddamn money. And if you're not born into the bloodline or the family, okay, you don't have a right. Okay, it's not a rite of passage. Okay, but if you're born into it, you already have the rite of passage, so you don't have to spend all that goddamn money. Okay, because all it is now is about money, and it's making me sick to my stomach because I run into people all the time and they're fake and they're fucking frauds. Okay, and I can't take it anymore. Okay, and this is why I'm only around a certain few of them. Okay, and I'm not under a house. I don't have to be under a house. My house is me. It's my temple, is my body. Okay. Now, do I have people that I know that if I have questions to guide me because my grandmother's not here? Yes. But I know the way. Okay? I know the way. Okay? What was the plan to gain coming back every year? Okay, so, or maybe they were also a part of them. I totally believe you. I've seen it as well. Yes. So they will shift in front of you. Their face will shift, or the whole goddamn body will shift. Okay? So what is happening is you can see them, you can see who they truly are. So you can shift your consciousness. Yes, you can. Okay? You can shift your consciousness. Okay? I'm telling you, you can shift your consciousness. Okay? What was it planning to gain coming back every year? Okay, so her, I believe the reason why she came back every year, I don't know if she was reptilian, because when she shifted so fast. Okay? But I knew whatever she wasn't who she was presenting herself, but she was white. Okay? She was white. Okay? And normally and most of the people that I'm encountering that reptilian are mostly white. Okay? For real. I'm like, these motherfuckers won't, they keep, because what they're trying to do is they're trying to, like, they know that I can see them. Okay? They know if you can see them. Okay? So what was her plan to gain come back every year? I think what it was she was watching me. Okay? So she went across to the same people and they were laying hands on her ass again. Okay? And she wasn't even human. Okay? She wasn't human. Okay? Because she already knew when I looked at her, I was like, you are not, like, I gave her that look like, I wish you would come over to my booth, or come to my booth, or come in my booth. Okay? She already knew she couldn't. Okay? She knew she would be pushed the fuck out. Okay? And she knew she couldn't enter. Okay? She knew that. She could not enter. Okay? So, and a lot of, in this field, there's a lot of competition. Okay? A lot of competition. And we shouldn't be competing with each other. If you're a true healer, you're not competing with other people. Okay? You're getting knowledge from everybody, you're learning, and you're growing. Okay? That is what a true healer is. Okay? And really healing people. Okay? Really have healing hands. Okay? That's why I don't let everybody lay hands on me. Okay? What was she? So she was just letting me know she was there. That was it. Okay? And then there was, they also carry an aura with them. Okay? A Pacific aura. Okay? And I might have to do a video just on reptilians. Okay? But most of the times when I see them, they are Caucasian. Okay? So let me get into this and then I'll end this. Okay? So you don't die. What happens is you're shifting to another state of consciousness. Okay? Or another shift. And so you're shifting to another state of consciousness. So that shift, awareness of the consciousness, that you're shifting to another state of consciousness, what's happening is you're shifting to another state of dimension. Okay? So we don't die, we shift consciousness. Okay? We shift consciousness. Okay? And that consciousness shifts to another dimension. Okay? Our consciousness is just shifting to another dimension. That's all it's doing. Okay? We're not shifting our physical body. We're shifting our consciousness. Okay? That's what's happening. We're shifting our consciousness. Okay? I remember going outside my physical body, and hearing every conversation and seeing everybody that was around me. Everybody that was around me. Okay? My perspective of my consciousness was at a altered stage of consciousness. So it's like when you die, you cross over, your state of consciousness, of awareness, it heightens. Okay? It heightens to the next level. Okay? Where you see everything, you hear everything, and you truly understand. But what happens is when people are dying is that fear of death. Okay? That's why I said don't fear death, look death in his eyes. Okay? You never fear it. Okay? We don't want to die. I mean, yeah, we want to go to a better place. Okay? Or we want to come back here and choose to help others. It's up to you. But we're shifting um what was she? We're shifting our consciousness. Okay, that is what's happening. Okay, so when you're in other dimensions, what's happening is you're shifting your consciousness. Okay, you can shift your consciousness. This is very real. Okay, they don't talk about it, they need to talk about it. Okay, everybody, I believe, can do it. Okay, um and especially seers. Okay, I believe everybody has some kind of gift of sight. It's just tapping into that gift of sight. Okay, and shifting, knowing how to shift your consciousness. Okay, and still be grounded while you're shifting consciousness, because when you're not grounded and you're shifting consciousness, you can go mad and crazy, because you'll see things on other dimensions. Okay, higher, lower dimensions, and you have to be grounded when you're seeing this. Okay, and you hearing this. Okay, because it can make somebody go mad, and I believe a lot of people do go mad when they have awakening, a truly awakening spirits. They go mad. Okay, because they can't handle what they're seeing, they can't handle the information they're getting, and they just go batshit mad. Okay. Um, so when you die, there is no heaven or hell. Okay, they teach you a religion that there's heaven and hell, and the reason why they teach you this is to have you in a state of fear, especially when you step out of the physical body. And you cannot be in a state of fear when you step out of the physical body. And the reason why is because if you're in a state of fear when you step out of the physical body, you're going against the wave, the tide, okay, the ocean, okay? So you just let it take you, okay? You go with the tide, not against the tide, okay? This makes sense, okay? So that's why a lot of people need to get out of the state of fear, okay? Because people ask me, well, you should fear something. Yes and no. I really don't fear, because I know I'm going to look death in its eyes. And I know that I did the right things in this life where I'm not afraid to die. Now, people are afraid of death because of the family that they have. They won't see their family, which they still will, okay? And they teach this to scare you about death, and they teach you this to fear death, and they also teach you this so you can follow their doctrine, right? So you go pray all the time, and but at the end of the day, you have to face death alone. Okay, you're not facing death with your fellow church members, your brother, your mother, your sisters, your children. You're facing death alone. Okay, and do not fear it. Okay, do not fear it. Okay, when that time comes. Okay, when my dad was crossing, they were coming for him. Okay. And a lot of people will have dreams of family members before they die. And this also happens with dementia clients. I believe people with dementia and Alzheimer's is going in and out of stages or states of consciousness. Okay, where they're seeing the past loved ones and they're going back to their past. Okay, so they're slipping out of consciousness, but also slipping out of times. Okay, dimensions. Okay, time don't. We're not going to say time because time don't exist. Dimensions. Okay, that is what Alzheimer's is. You are shifting your consciousness, but you're shifting your consciousness into different time period. Well, you want to say time periods or different dimensions. Okay, and you will see loved ones. It's because you're shifting your consciousness. That's what Alzheimer's is. That's really what it is. But they're not going to say that. Even schizophrenia, you're shifting consciousness. Okay, and you're not aware that you're shifting consciousness. Okay, and that is what happens, because you'll see a lot of people that have dementia. I worked in the healthcare field. Okay, I witnessed people dying. Okay, my dad dying. One lady waited for me to come. She wouldn't eat for nobody, but she ate for me. She waited till I came, and I felt her leave her physical body, and she was waiting for me to say thank you. Okay, yes, to say thank you, telepathically to say thank you. Okay, so she was waiting, and she didn't want her son to be left alone when she took that when she shifted um, consciousness to a different dimension. Okay, she didn't want her son to be alone. Okay, and she wanted to thank me, so she held on to thank me. This is why some family members, they'll wait until they'll see their children or their grandchildren, and then they'll go. Okay, so they don't teach this. They need to teach this, that Alzheimer's, they're shifting the state of consciousness. Schizophrenic patients are shifting the state of consciousness. Okay, so a lot of these medical diagnoses, is actually they're shifting the state of consciousness. Okay, or consciously awareness consciously. Okay, that is what is happening. Okay, so religion keeps you confined. Okay, so when you die, there is no heaven or hell like they say it is. What happens is you will go back to the same dimension. Okay, or you go to another dimension. Okay, now what's happening is people are getting stuck in between dimensions. Okay, I'm going to do another video on this. It's going to be about my part 15555. The moment you transition, you are transitioned to another plane of existence or dimension. Okay, that is what is happening. Okay, that is all that's happening. It's not complex. Okay, and this is coming from my perspective as a seer. Okay, my perspective, my own perspective. Okay, because I have died many times. Okay, many times. Okay, and I was getting I remember where they put a stent in me to check my heart. Okay, I'll never forget this. And my blood pressure dropped. And I'm seeing and hearing all this because I'm outside my physical body. Okay, I was outside of my physical body because I shift my consciousness. Okay, and they said she's going to come back and talk about this. I was already, I wasn't going to go. I already knew that. And I can hear everything they were saying around me. So it was very interesting. Okay, I was shifting my consciousness. Okay, yes. Okay, so a lot of you guys, what's happening is you're shifting consciousness and you're not even realizing you're shifting consciousness. And especially when they say we're asleep, we're really shifting consciousness. But a lot of us are not aware that we're shifting consciousness. Okay, or I say aware consciously. This is why you need to be aware consciously that you're actually shifting consciousness. Okay, and we carry memory in our physical body, in our spirit body, of, well, I wouldn't say physical body, in our spirit body. We carry memory of generations. Okay, that's why I say we are the ancestors, and the ancestors are with us all the time because they literally are. And it's not just the father's side, it's the mother and the father's side. Okay, it's not just the father's side, it's the mother's side and the father's side. Okay, okay. So I did talk about people with mental disorders. So what happens with people with mental disorders or disabilities, the people with disabilities, they don't want to connect to the physical body. Okay? Because their spirit body is stronger than the physical body. Okay? And they don't want to make that connection to the physical body. Right? That soul body, the spirit body doesn't want to make that connection with that physical body. They're rejecting that physical body. That's all they're doing. They're rejecting it. Okay? Because they understand we are a spirit of soul and soul. Okay, so if you have a child that has a disability, do not put them on medication. Okay, because what happens is when you put them on medication, it suppresses their gifts. Okay, and the government doesn't want to tell you that these children are born with gifts. This is why a lot of these children, they have people that come in from to the school, and they'll say they're independent contractors. They're really government contractors. Okay, and they know who these children are, and they watch these children's development all through their life. Okay, and this is how they're knowing who is who. Okay, so to help a child develop their gifts, because there truly are gifts. We all have gifts. All of us have gifts. Okay, but a lot of us are not self-aware of the gifts that that we have, okay? And we're not aware that we can change consciousness. We can shift consciousness, okay? And when we're shifting consciousness, we're shifting into other dimensions, okay? And we do this a lot of times when they say we were asleep, but we're really not asleep, okay? We're not. We're traveling. We're not traveling, but yeah, we're traveling in other dimensions. Some dimensions you might stumble across you don't want to be in, and some dimensions, okay, so this is why your ancestors can really speak to you when you are asleep. And some people before death, they will be visited by their ancestors because their ancestors are letting them know that when you cross, we're going to be here, okay, to cross you, okay, and we're going to be here to support you and love you, okay, and help you transition, okay, transition over, okay. That's why you see a lot of them see loved ones, okay. Even people with dementia will see loved ones because what's happening is they're shifting consciousness, shifting dimensions, okay. They're going back to different time periods, okay. If everybody has gifts, then why are so many people fake and part of the system? The reason why is because, somebody says, the reason why is because we're being dumbed down with the food that we eat, the drinks that we're drinking, the environmental factors, okay, the water that we're drinking, okay. I have my ex-husband was an electrician, okay, and he worked in rich people's homes, okay, and a lot of rich people, their water supply, okay, they use only copper, okay. They're dumbing us down by elements, okay. So water is an element, air is an element, air, water, earth, okay, and spirit, okay. That's how they're dumbing us down, okay. All the elements, and the senses that they teach you in school are 5 senses, but we have more than 5 senses, okay. We have more than 15 senses, okay. It's a multitude of senses. But we're just not tapping into those senses because we're taught only to tap into those 5 senses, okay, that we can actually observe, right? So the 5 senses that we can observe is what? Touch, right? Smell, right? Wait. Smell, hearing, eating. I mean, that's a sense. So they only teach you those senses because to eliminate you just to those 5 senses: touch, seeing, touch, hear, smell. But they limit us with those 5 senses. Okay, we have more multiple senses. Okay. Yes, children are gifts. Okay, they are gifts to us. Children even help us in the spiritual and the physical plane of existence. Okay, children help us. Okay, that's why they hate the children so much. Okay. Children's gifts are because their pineal gland is open. That's why they are able to see things. As well as age, this pineal gland becomes closed. It don't necessarily become closed, Tracy. Okay, we all have a pineal gland, and there's different things that are happening in the medical field that are also dumbing us down. Okay, I can get deep into that in my next video. Okay, you know how they emphasize taking your wisdom tooth out. They call them wisdom tooth for a reason, because it's your wisdom. Okay, but no, adults yes, children's gifts are because of their pineal gland is open. Our pineal gland is always open. It's never closed. That's a lie. Okay, what happens is the brain shrinks as we age. Our brain shrinks. Okay, that's what happens. Okay, but the reason why they use time is illusion. Okay, because we were a part of a place that was always magical. Okay. We live forever. Okay. We don't die. Like the physical death that we are experiencing is not truly a physical death. What it is a shift of consciousness. Okay. And the reason why they hate children so much is children can see. Okay. Not just that they can see is children are the most purest form of energy. Okay. Because they're not corrupted. They're not just corrupted. They're teachable. Okay. That's why they hate children so much. Okay. These other beings. Okay. And this is why they use children. Okay. They feed off of children. Okay. Because they have a gift, a true spiritual gift. We all have a gift. All of us. We just have to shift our perspective of consciousness and be aware that we're actually shifting our perspective of consciousness. Okay. I know I sound crazy as hell. Okay. All right. So when you're in your true state of fear, okay, this transition becomes fear driven. Everything out here is fear, fear, fear. Okay. News, fear, fear, fear. And a lot of the shit we're seeing is holograms. It's not even real. Okay, we got we got theater magic going on every goddamn day. And a lot of people are under a goddamn spell. Wake the fuck up. Wake the fuck up. Wake the fuck up. Okay? Go back to the old way. Find your roots. Tap into that motherfucker. Okay? That's where the answers lie. And that's where you will wake the fuck up. Okay, tap into your mother's side, tap into your father's side. Okay, whatever the shit out here they're teaching you is bad, is not bad. If your intentions are not bad, it's not fucking bad. Okay, now if you move with malice intentions, that's different. If you're doing shit to cause people misery, pain, and all this shit, then that is different. Okay, but they teach us our worship of our ancestors is wrong. Fuck them. Fuck them. Okay? Because they're teaching you that so you don't really tap into who you truly the fuck are. Your ancestors are you. You are your ancestors. Tap the fuck in. Stop believing this bullshit. This whitewashed bullshit. They want you dumbed down. You have a right to be here. You have magical powers. You can shift your consciousness. Okay? Don't believe that shit they're feeding you. Okay? Because they're feeding you bullshit. Okay? They're feeding you fucking bullshit. Okay? When you do spiritual work, true spiritual work, you're going to be fucking tired. Okay? Yes, when I'm not doing spiritual work, I'm in fucking bed. Or I take hikes. Okay? But when you're doing true spiritual work, you're going to get burned the fuck out. You're going to get tired. This is why you have to know how to balance it out. It's a balancing act. Okay? And when they teach you that your ancestral worship is evil, that is for you not to learn the truth. The truth lies in you, my dear. It lies within the ancestors. The ancestors are you. You have their DNA and RNA in you. Activate that motherfucker, okay? Because you have weight, okay? You have weight in the spiritual realm. I'm trying to tell you. They don't want you to activate it because they say it's dark, but they'll spend money to go to Africa and sacrifice these children, okay, and see black practitioners, but they won't tell you that. Okay? They won't tell you the truth. I'm telling you the truth. They teach you that what our practices is evil. No, it's not. It's not evil. Once you tap into who you are individually and tap into who your ancestors are, knowing who they are, you have power in that. And that's what they don't want you having is power. Okay, so tap into it. Okay, that's why they say that the practice of black arts is black, is dark. It's not. They will travel to Africa The continent of motherfucking Africa. They will go see black practitioners. Do you know how many white people come to see me? That come to see me. They'll come see indigenous practitioners. Because they know that we're the real motherfucking deal out here. But then they'll talk about us and say, oh, what they're doing is evil, it's dark. But they'll come to us for our spiritual gifts. That's the truth. If you want to know the truth, I'm telling you the goddamn truth. Okay? I'm telling you the truth. So they have to teach you their ways so you forget about your ways. That's the truth, my dear. So when you know who you are, you have power in knowing who you are. That's why when they took the indigenous, they cut their hair. Why do you think they cut their hair? The hair is the strength, the wisdom. You're not supposed to be cutting your hair. You're supposed to be trimming it, but not cutting your goddamn hair. There's wisdom in your hair. They're your fucking antennas. Okay? That's why they shave their heads off, their hair off. There's a school I want to visit in Carlisle, Pennsylvania. They took the kids and they shaved their hair off so they won't have the wisdom and knowledge because their hair is not supposed to be cut. Okay? It's not supposed to be cut. It's not even supposed to be dyed. Okay? But it's dyed. Okay? Hey, Karen. So what they teach you is your ways wicked. There's an old saying they say about the Indian. Was it kill the Indian and you kill the man? You don't think that just pertains to black people? You kill the black person's spirituality and you kill them. You kill the man on the woman. Okay, that's the honest to God truth. Okay, they want to indoctrinate you into their beliefs. I've seen people in Santeria that are white, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? Okay, what is going on? Okay, because it's not your bloodline. It's not your rite of passage. Okay, you can practice whatever the fuck you want to practice out here. Okay, I'm sorry for using my French. Okay, tap into who you are. Tap into your DNA. We didn't go to churches. The only churches you see that are the real original churches, if you want to go to churches, is in Ethiopia. Okay, they have the real texts and the real scrolls. Okay, everywhere else in the world, they were talking to fucking trees and shit, and they call us crazy, but they're doing what we were doing many decades ago. But they call our arts dark, but they'll come to us for help. You know how many presidents went to Africa and popes go to Africa? All of them. Every president has an astrologer. Every president has a psychic. They all go to Africa, but they call our work dark. The reason they call our art dark is because they don't want us to know who we truly are and that we truly have a God-given gift and a God-given right to that gift. Okay? That's why. Our practice is not dark. It's the intent behind the practice. So if you have malice intentions, then that is dark. And that's in whatever you practice out here. Okay? But if you have pure intentions and good intentions, okay, and you move with pure, authentic intentions, that's not evil. So you can call me whatever you want to call me out here. There's a famous psychic, Salome Bella. Okay, Salome Bella. If you're watching my channel, I'm calling you out. She said that black practice, voodoo and hoodoo, was evil. She's lying to you. Okay, she's lying to you. And I gotta say for entertainment purposes, because she likes to sue people. Okay, she said it's evil. No, it's not evil. Okay, it's evil because you don't understand it. It's because it's not your right to understand it. The reason why it's not your right to understand it is because you're not of your race is as a frequency. Okay, it's a fucking frequency. Okay, the melon that we carry is the highest fucking frequency. Okay? They use our skin for these phones. They use our skin for these televisions. The melanin is worth more than gold. That's why a lot of black people are going missing. The melanin in your skin, the darker your skin it is, the more the melanin is the worth. They use the melanin in our skin for computer software, for television. Don't get me started. Do not get me started. Okay? So for her to say that, that pisses me the fuck off. Okay? Because I am, and then she says they go to Haiti to take the Haitian kids. Why do you think they go to Haiti to take the Haitian kids? If you're going to tell the truth, tell the whole fucking truth. Because I am on my channel. I have nothing against Salone. Okay? Nothing against her. But if you're going to speak about the truth and things you don't know, she can't speak about our culture. She knows fucking shit about our culture. She don't know what we've been through. She's never been called a nigger or spick or anything like that. She never had been not given a job because of the color of her skin. Our skin color is a fucking frequency. The melanin skin is the highest fucking frequency out here. If you don't know, I'm telling you. Okay, this is why black children are trafficked. This is why black children go missing. This is why black women go missing. Black men go missing. Because the melanin in our skin. And any white practitioner out here that wants to debate with my ass, let's debate. Because I'm not debating with you. I know the truth. Okay? Our melanin in our skin is worth more than gold. That's why black people go missing. Okay? Our melanin, our skin. You don't think they just take the kidney, the heart, the livers. They take the intestines. They take the motherfucking skin. I channeled a woman and they took her goddamn skin. Her skin. The darker you are, the higher the frequency. They won't teach you that, baby. They won't teach you that. This is why even in the medical field, the Western way is the way they teach Western doctors is wrong. Okay? They teach us wrong. They do so much to us. Okay? So much. And we carry weight in the spiritual realm, okay? But they say our work, our practice is dark. It's because they don't understand our ways. They will never understand our ways, and they're not supposed to understand our ways. Our ways are our ways for a reason. Okay? And I'm not coming up against her. I'm just saying that for her to say that pissed me the fuck off. Okay? Because she doesn't know, because she fears it, because she knows it's the real motherfucking deal. That's why she comes and visits black practitioners. Because she knows that we're the real motherfucking deal out here. Okay? They know that. They know that. They know that. Okay? I had these motherfuckers come to me in all red robes. I'll never forget that day. Okay? And red robes. And what I was feeling was I was surrounded by them in my bed. I was asleep. Okay? I wasn't astral traveling. I perceived that I was asleep. And they visit me. Okay? It was a lot of them. It was like, I don't know, 6 or 7 of them motherfuckers in red robes. Okay? They had no fucking face. Okay? No face. Their face looked like matter. Okay? Matter. Okay? So they were cloaking their real face. Okay? And then I asked my ancestors to bring me to them. Okay? And then I seen who they were. And I'm not going to talk about them on my page. But they watch my page. I have occultists that watch my page. I know who they are. Okay? I know who the fuck they are. Okay? Because I visit them. Just like they visit me, I visit them. Okay? So, and I remember, this is why they inject you so you don't fucking remember. Okay? All these vaccines. Why are we getting all these fucking vax? Okay? I'm telling you why we're getting these fucking vax. So you don't remember. So they can change up your DNA, your mRNA, and your RA. Okay? Okay, I'm just telling you guys the truth. Okay, all right, I'm ending this. This is Jennifer Phillips readings. Thank you. This is about consciously shifting consciousness. Okay, you can shift consciousness. I do it all the time. Okay, I have a friend. He's from Africa. He's from Guyana, and he might be watching my video. I left his house. I got in my car. I gave him a hug, and at that moment, I don't remember if I started crying. I was feeling his physical symptoms. Okay, he might be on my channel now. I was feeling his physical symptoms. Okay, I didn't want to leave him. Okay, I think I started crying, and I started feeling this sadness like come over me. It was bizarre. Okay, um, and what I was feeling was his sadness and his illness. Okay, and I didn't want to leave, but I had to leave. Okay, and then a couple months later, I told him, "Look, you need to slow down, dude. Okay, you need to slow down." And something made him slow down. Okay, yes, it made him slow down. Okay, and really reevaluate life and what was more important to him. Was it with his business or his health? His health was more important than his goddamn business. Okay, because money will flow naturally. Okay, money is not a true currency. Okay, but it will come in naturally. Okay, it will flow naturally. Okay, so this is where I'm at with this, you guys. Thank you guys for joining me. This is Jennifer Phillips readings. I thank you guys all for joining me. This was a class on shifting consciousness. You can shift consciousness. Okay, you can shift consciousness. When you practice voodoo, what's happening is you're shifting consciousness. That's all it is. But they teach you it's evil, but they shift consciousness. And it's told that that is good. See, they don't want us doing what they do. But they shift consciousness, but we can't shift consciousness. So when you see people going into that trance state, they're shifting consciousness. That's all it is, baby. Okay? They're shifting consciousness. But you have to be careful, because when you're shifting consciousness, you have to be careful of, sometimes it just happens to me. If you're a seer, it's going to happen to you regardless. Okay, you're not even going to know. Like some of my videos, I look back, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm in a fucking trance. I was shifting consciousness. Okay, and I didn't intentionally go into shifting consciousness. Okay, that guy I was telling you about, my African friend, I do it all the time. And he'd be like, Jen, you be shifting. He was like, he knows, okay? He knows I be shifting consciousness, okay? One time we were supposed to go, I think, out to eat or something. And I just went on my live, and I truly shift consciousness, okay? And he'd be like, Jen, you are here, but you are not. You are here, but consciously you're somewhere else. And I was consciously somewhere else. And what happened was I was shifting consciousness, okay? And he picked it up right away. Okay, some people will pick it up right away. They know I'm shifting consciousness. And I have a friend of mine, I say she's a friend. She sent me things from the church all the time. And it's like, okay, I don't know how many times I have to tell you that now, the only religion that came to the truth to me was the Orthodox faith. Okay, it was the same as the Ethiopian Orthodox. Okay, the Coptic Orthodox is the same as Ethiopian Orthodox. Okay, so Ethiopian Orthodox just means Ethiopian Orthodox, right? And then Coptic just means Egyptian. Okay, so I've studied that. Okay, I had to take classes on this shit. Okay, so if you think about it, I didn't go to school for theology. My aunt went to college for theology. She majored in biblical theology. Okay, but in my walk in life, I went to different churches, and in religion, as far as the church religions, I felt I was confined as a seer. Okay, I had to go past that. Okay, to truly, I had to go past that because it confined me. It's kept me stuck in that loop of confinement, okay, on my spiritual journey. So I had to go past that ideology, okay, to truly tap into that spirituality as a seer, okay, as a psychic, as a medium, okay. So I had to go past that, okay. And I always said that I will always wanted to be a nun or a cop. But not a regular cop, maybe like one day maybe help solve cases, have my own practice. Okay, I don't want to work for nobody because I don't want people to tell me what the fuck to do. I don't want people to like not just tell me what to do, but put me down or pay me less than what I'm worth. Okay, I don't have time for that. Okay, I don't have time. Okay, when you are truly out here slaying entities, and they have programs where they actually have hybrid races that are hybrid races. Okay, there's a lot of hybrid races out here. There's a lot of NPCs. Okay, and a lot of people are MK Ultra. A lot of people are NPCs, and a lot of people are from a hybrid race. Our origins of our races, or our origins of our DNA and our mRNA is in our blood. Our blood is the holy grail out here. This is where they can tell your origins from. And this is why they try to manipulate the DNA sometimes in the mRNA, RNA, and the RA. Okay, I'm going to do another video on that because that's going to get deep. Okay. But this is Jennifer Felix. Thank you guys for joining me. This is a read on, not a read, but a session on shifting consciousness, shifting dimensions. Okay. I love everybody. I don't care what race you are, I love everybody. Okay. I have some of my best friends are white practitioners. Okay. And I have friends that are my friends that I call friends. Because I trust no one. Okay. But as far as I have interactions with, I have a picture of my one friend. I'll show you. She's a witchy. She's from the Appalachian Mountains. Okay. These are people that work for her. Okay. I fell in love with her as soon as I met her. She understood me and I understood her. She has her own business, a big booming business here. Okay. She makes all my rings, my glass rings. Well, she don't make them. She gets them imported. But she has a glass business, and I love her to death. I love her to death. She's probably watching my page. Her hair kind of looks like my hair. I thought this was so cute that she did this. And she also did the sign, I will hex you I will hex you and steal your soul if you steal from me. Because people were coming in her store stealing from her. Okay, why would you come into my store and steal from them? They work hard for their shit. Okay. And that's where I stole that thing. If you steal my ideals, I will hex you and steal your soul. But I have friends from all walks of life that are practitioners. I learn from all of them. We're all at different places. And I'm not going to change who I am for anybody. And if they don't like it, then hey, I guess move on. Okay. See you next Tuesday. Okay. I had a lady that also invited me to a lot of people invite me to their conventions and stuff like that. Some I decline. Not all money is good money. Okay. Some I decline because I'm busy. And some I go just to go. Okay. It's very interesting. We have a bunch of fairies, fays, we have dwarfs, we have all kinds of people. So a lot of these mystical creatures that they talk about, they exist and they still exist. Okay. And a lot of people can't remember their past lives. Okay. Sometimes when I channel somebody or I do a psychic reading, I can pick up their past life right away. Some people I have to go deep into the read, um, or it takes multiple reads and then their past life will come forward. Some their past life just comes up forward. There was a white girl, I'll never forget. She comes from a Vedic, a Norse bloodline. Um, and she was drawn to it, but she didn't know why. I'm like, girl, you were a healer in the Nork bloodline. Okay, you come from a bloodline of healers. Okay, Vikings, true Vikings. Okay, and I kept seeing symbols for her. Okay, she calls me all the time. She gets reads from me. Okay, because she's trying to tap into her gifts. Okay, every time I talk to her, I keep seeing these droid symbols. I don't know what they mean. I'm not droid. I'm not Viking. I'm not Nordic. Okay, but she comes from that bloodline. There was one lady that came from an Asian background, and her tribe, they used to do ceremonies, and she was in the business world, and she wanted to get out the business world, and she was drawn to her ancestral work, just like my Atlantean sister. Okay, she was drawn to her old way. Okay, she didn't realize, she didn't understand it, and in this journey, you have other spiritualists that will tear you down. Okay, instead of lift you up, and I think that is so much bullshit. Because if you're a true spiritualist, you should be lifting people up, not tearing them the fuck down. Okay, that's just the way it is, and we all don't have the answers, but I'm telling you what I see as my perspective. Okay, on shifting consciousness, you can shift consciousness just like you can shift yourself into other dimensions. Okay, um, and this is what I get when I'm shifting consciousness, because I'm forever shifting consciousness. Okay, just like a lot of you guys may be shifting consciousness. Now, there's people that shift consciousness too because of abuse. Okay, this is where they'll get personalities, where they'll shift consciousness to not sustain the abuse. So psychologically, they leave their physical body, not even knowing they leave in their physical body because of the trauma, and they're stepping out of their physical body, and they're shifting to another state of consciousness. Okay, you'll see this with people that have been traumatic abuse. Okay, and then they take on new identities. Okay, like real identities. Okay, Sarah, Tom, Dick, Harry. Okay, they'll take on other identities because the abuse is so traumatic, where they split. Okay, and they split outside their physical body, and they go to another, they shift consciousness, right? But they're doing it to protect their self, but they're not even knowing it's because it's a trauma response. Okay, so they even need to look in psychology, because that's shifting consciousness. Okay, and they're shifting the consciousness because of that traumatic experience. And now some people don't even remember the traumatic experience that they went through, because it was so traumatic. They have suppressed it. Okay, so they don't know what happened. They knew something happened, but they can't remember because it was so traumatic, the experience that they were going through, that they had to shift consciousness. And they had to shift the consciousness, and they didn't realize that they were shifting consciousness, and then they take on personalities, okay, and different names, okay. And then when you have the therapist, the psychologists, or whatever you want to call them, that go strictly by the books, as far as this is what you learn in psychology. Okay, this is what it is. Okay, it's not past what you see on the paper in the books, and that limits psychologists, because if you are a psychologist or you study psychology, you understand that you got to go past them damn books. Okay, just like you got to go past the religion to get to true consciousness. Okay, so people are shifting, and then they put labels on this shit. Okay, and they're believing that, oh, this is what I was taught the Western way, and this is what I was taught, so this is what I'm going to diagnose this person with. Okay, because they don't really know effectively how to deal with somebody switching consciousness. Okay, because the event was so traumatic, they had no choice but to shift consciousness. And then what happens is it looks like fragments. Okay, it looks like fucking fragments. Okay, and they can't remember because the experience that they experienced was so traumatic. So what happens is that child will suppress those memories, right? So when I mean suppress it is they will never think about it, but they know something happened. Something wasn't right at that moment in time in my life. Maybe I was 9 years old, 8 years old, 7 years old, and I can't remember it. And the reason you can't remember it is because you suppressed it. And another reason you can't remember it is because they don't want you to fucking remember it, because they put you on medication to dumb you down and all kinds of shit out here. Okay. And the first thing they tell you is, oh, go put your child on fucking medication. Okay. That's going to help your child with ADHD. That's going to help your child with autism. And what's the other one? They're some of the smartest people. It's something Berg. Okay. Some of the smartest goddamn people. Okay. Disabilities don't. What happens is people with disabilities, they don't want to get into their physical body. They fight to get in their physical body because they're true pure consciousness. Okay, and they understand that the physical body is not pure true consciousness. Okay, all right, all right. Thank you guys for joining me. Tell me your thoughts. So the way the psychologists learn in Western way is wrong. Okay, you got to go past the books. You got to go past the books. Okay, to understand your your child, your grandchild, or your students, or your patients. You got to go past what you were taught. Okay. Anytime that I worked in the field with people with disabilities, they gravitated to me because I didn't see their disability. I seen them as the person first. Okay. And I still am in contact with many of them. Okay. Yes, they still call me to this day. If they're watching my page, they know who they are. And a lot of times their family will put them in this box of fear. One of my clients, the mother said, oh, you can never get a driver's license. And I told my client, yes, you can. He went and got a goddamn driver's license. Okay. And he sent me a picture of his car. He was so proud. Then I had another client that his mother wanted him to stay with him so she can collect the goddamn check. Okay. And he didn't want to live with his mom because the environment was very toxic. Okay, it was very toxic. It was causing him to have seizures and all kinds of shit. Okay, and he finally got his own place, but he has to have, it's called supportive living. So he has to have somebody come visit him and help him. Okay, but he can live on his life on his own and have a real life. Okay, and a good quality of life. But what happens is the parents fear of letting that child go out into the world, right, to experience life. They hinder them, okay, because they're fearful that they might get hurt, or they might get used and abused. And a lot of those children do get used and abused because they are the purest form of authentic energy. Okay, so you just teach that child, okay, if somebody touches you, speak. Okay, say something. Okay, if somebody does this, say something. But they can have a good quality of life. Okay, it's just the love that you give them, and not having them fear life. Okay, and it's your expectations on them that you're putting on that child. Okay, and that child, you're stunting that child's growth. Okay, there is another client I had. And they named her after a Harley bike. She's a white client, and she has cerebral palsy. And I'm telling you guys, her mother was one of the best mothers I've ever came across. She told her daughter never to give up and to go, and she used to crawl. Okay, crawl to go to the bathroom, crawl to do this, crawl to do that. But she didn't limit her daughter Harley. Do you know Harley went to USF University, University of Southern Florida, and got a degree in psychology? She got a goddamn degree in psychology. So at this time, she couldn't find a job, okay? And I told her, shit, if you can't find a job, open your own fucking practice, okay? Open your own goddamn practice. They will come, okay? They will come, okay? So we put our own limited beliefs on our children, our grandchildren, and our children with disabilities, and they don't have disabilities, they have a true gift. So you got to look at them. You can't look and focus on, you can't look at the disability, you got to look at them as who they are. Okay, because if you look at the disability first, they're going to know. Okay, because you got to understand their senses are heightened, they're using more than those five senses. Okay, and that's how they survive, using those heightened senses. Okay. All right, thank you guys so much. It's Jennifer Phillips. I gotta go. I have a reading. If the girl's on, I have a reading for her. I need to start my reading on her. Okay, you guys? All right, thank you guys so much. I'll talk to you later. Ashe. Okay, I love you guys. Ashe.